gentleman from California is now recognized for 5 minutes in support of his amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I'll use the first couple of minutes to talk about the amendment I don't have at the desk because I haven't had time to write it. And that is because my district was hit by these enormous fires. It looks like the LA fires are, at least according to AccuWeather, going to result in $250 billion in property damage. I hope very much that AccuWeather is wrong and that number declines. We're going to have to rebuild 2 significant sections of the Los Angeles area, one in my district, the Palisades, the other one in Judy Chu's district, hit by the Eaton fire. There are a number of areas where I think our oversight plan is not real specific, but is certainly broad enough to cover what we need to do. First, as to housing, we need resiliency. And while tariffs are not within the exact ambit of our jurisdiction, the possibility of enormous tariffs on building materials will have a tremendous effect on the cost of construction over the next 2 years, as so much lumber, so much other building materials are coming to Los Angeles, straining the ability of this country to meet the need for building materials at a reasonable price. Second, insurance is part of our jurisdiction. We need to see the effect of these enormous fires on reserves. And we need to see whether we need a backup for the insurance companies, similar to what we do on flood insurance, dealing with all of the various disasters that can occur. And finally, CDBG-DR. We've all heard of CDBG, Community Development Block Grants. The disaster relief block grants are the mechanism by which Congress traditionally provides more aid to homeowners who have been wiped out in a disaster. The federal government will be picking up many of the local government costs of this disaster, including rebuilding several schools. But current law will provide even the completely uninsured homeowner with only $43,000, and that isn't enough to rebuild a home. I don't think the federal government can cover all uninsured losses, but I think the American people expect the federal government to do more. Now, turning to the amendment that was distributed, we have a balance in Congress between allowing members to lead their lives on the one hand and assuring our constituents that things are fair and on the up and up on the other. One important proposal is the Stock Act, which regards not investing in individual stocks while allowing members to invest in mutual funds. I think that's a reasonable approach, and I think that it is important that it cover not only stocks, but also commodities and cryptocurrencies. You, a member of the Armed Services Committee, may find out that a particular weapon system is likely to be funded. A member of the Ag Committee may find out that a particular commodity is likely to go up or down in price. And members of a variety of committees may learn that a particular individual cryptocurrency or meme coin is likely to benefit. I'll point out an area where it wasn't so much Congress as the transition team. Everybody knew, not inside information, that November 5th was a good day for cryptocurrencies. Trump is the most pro-cryptocurrency president in our history. What only a few people knew was that a week after he was elected president, the transition team would announce that their new department was going to be called Doge, literally named after a cryptocurrency. And it is particularly noteworthy that while all cryptocurrencies increased in the week after Donald Trump was elected, Doge increased 5 times the rate of other cryptocurrencies. So investment in individual cryptocurrencies can be affected by inside knowledge of governmental actions, some as trivial as what you decide to name a government department. So the Stock Act, I realize, is a part of an ethics program, but it also is relevant to the jurisdiction of this committee, and it ought to apply to individual stocks, individual cryptocurrencies, and individual commodities. I yield back.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Wisconsin, the chair of the Digital Assets, Financial Technology, and AI Subcommittee, Mr. Stiles, recognized for 5 minutes to strike the last word.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the amendment by my colleague from California. And I would echo one part that I do think President Trump is the most pro-crypto president the United States has ever seen. I view that as a good thing. The amendment is offered by my colleague, I think is duplicative and unnecessary, and I think there's two important points here. My colleague raised some important points as it relates to insider trading. I think it's important for the record to note that insider trading, not only by members of Congress, but by anyone, is illegal and enforceable under the law. And I do think that we should work to make sure that we're enforcing the law as it relates to insider trading. So if an individual has insider information and illegally uses that to trade a stock, they should be held accountable, and the law should be enforced in that regard. Specifically as it relates to the Stock Act, which pertains to members of Congress and is slightly separate from the issue of insider trading, although there's an aspect where it could overlap. I would note that the amendment specifically is unnecessary, and in large part because it may please my colleague to know that both the House and Senate guidance explicitly considers digital assets as covered in the Stock Act. And so last Congress, some folks here may know that we worked with members to add language to fit 21 on the Stock Act. But in working on that language, it was actually clear that digital assets were already covered. And so because of this, I would note that the amendment, while well-intentioned, is duplicative. I would encourage my colleagues to vote no. I'll now yield to the gentlewoman from Missouri, Ms. Wagner.
I thank my friend from Wisconsin, Chairman Stile, for yielding, and I also want to say at the onset how much I look forward once again to working with Ranking Member Sherman on the Capital Markets Subcommittee, and am honored, Mr. Chairman, to chair the Subcommittee on Capital Markets again in the 119th Congress. And also, Mr. Sherman, I want to send my heartfelt concern and heartbreak for what your constituents are enduring with these wildfires, and I can talk about how we can be helpful in that regard offline. But I agree with Chairman Stile. I appreciate the gentleman's amendment and the issue that he's trying to address here. However, I'd say nothing in the oversight plan precludes the committee from conducting oversight in this space. Page 2 of the oversight plan specifically covers the members' concerns both in the capital markets and the digital assets sections of the text. So for these reasons, I would urge members to vote no on this amendment, and I yield back time to Mr. Stile.
I thank the gentlewoman and always appreciate the proper Luxembourg pronunciation of my last name. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The ranking member from California, Ms. Waters, recognized to strike the last word.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I commend my colleague, Mr. Sherman, for offering this important amendment that would require our committee to hold a hearing on the Stock Act and to consider whether we should expand the law's provisions to ban members from trading individual stocks, cryptocurrencies, and meme coins. As we all know, trust in Congress is fundamental to the health of our democracy. Any appearance of a conflict of interest undermines that trust and erodes the public's faith in our institution. While the Stock Act has provided some transparency, the rise of new asset classes like cryptocurrencies and speculative meme coins has created new risks that we must address. We cannot afford to allow the perception or the reality that members of Congress should profit from knowledge gained through their official duties. If we are to rebuild trust with the American people, we must act decisively. The hearing required by Mr. Sherman's amendment will give us the opportunity to take a hard look at the law, explore its effectiveness, and determine whether further reforms are necessary to prevent conflicts of interest. Now, at this point, I had not intended to talk about this new coin that we learned about in the last couple of days. It is the $ Trump coin that has been minted. And while we sit here and talk about conflict of interest, I can't think of a bigger conflict of interest. And for those of us who sit here day in and day out, penalizing ourselves more and more, are we going to ignore the President of the United States who's created his own coin? What is it? Who are the people who have joined with him in owning 80% of it? Who are the market makers, aside from who are the suckers who are going to get involved in making sure they give money to the President of the United States? I'm told it is not an investment. It is not a contribution. What is it? And I understand that the wife is going to have her own also. Give me a break. Now, if we're going to deal with penalizing ourselves, those of us who sit here without any raises in our pay, those of us who sit here every day trying to afford the expenses of our families and the travel and all of that, and yet the President of the United States of America has created the $ Trump cryptocurrency. Let's talk about this. Don't close it down. Come on, let's hear some discussion on this, because this is outrageous for us even to talk about us and not mention a word and join in talking about what the President of the United States of America is doing. This is outrageous. I don't know if I yield back my time or not. I'm going to yield to anybody who wants to take it.
I think Mr.
Mr.
Caston.
Caston, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Ranking Member. I just want to point out that last term my colleagues across the aisle spent an entire term prosecuting a president's son for sitting on the board of a company that might have a conflict of interest. Donald Trump Jr. has announced he is going to join the board of Kalshi, a stock betting company in this digital space. Another board member of Kalshi is on the short list to be considered a CFTC chair. That's in addition to the meme coin that's now has made Donald Trump, at least on paper, one of the richest people in the world. If we view ourselves here as members of Congress, if we jealously defend our responsibilities as a member of a co-equal branch and making sure we stay co-equal and that we provide the checks and balances, this is an easy choice. If, on the other hand, we view ourselves only as partisans who will stand by and do anything that the leader of our party tells us without consideration for the leadership we told our voters that we would demonstrate when we got here, this will be a hard choice. I would encourage everybody to take the easy door. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back to the ranking member. Does the ranking member yield back?
No, I'll just use up the other few minutes that I have saying I am outraged if we sit here and talk about how we make sure that we're not in conflict by being involved with stocks, et cetera, and we don't say anything about the President of the United States of America.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The chair recognizes himself for 5 minutes. First, let me start with the substance of Mr. Sherman's amendment on the stock. I agree with my friend from Wisconsin. I thought he said it quite well, and what's interesting about Mr. Stile is he chairs the House Administration Committee and chairs our Digital Assets and Financial Technology Committee, so he's in quite a strong position to comment on this topic. And My judgment is, for our members, is that this amendment is unnecessary because the House and Senate guidance explicitly consider digital assets as covered under the Stock Act, as Mr. Stile noted. Further, we worked together on a bipartisan basis last year in the 118th Congress to add this specific language to not allow members to trade in cryptocurrencies to our FIT 21 bipartisan legislation that we passed out of the House with 71 Democrats. And so I don't believe that the substance of the amendment is necessary. Now, to the ranking member's comments about meme coins, as offered by any American, if I could ask the ranking member to strongly consider in the 119th Congress working with the majority on passing a FIT 21 type bill equivalent, I think you would find that bill very, very happy and positive on the points that you raise, because it absolutely would craft a regulatory framework about digital assets, period, full stop, and define how they're overseen, how they're regulated, what's a security, what's a commodity, and in my judgment, 2 points. One, if we pass that regulatory framework, it gives clarity to investors, to consumer protection, to the capital markets, to our market participants, and that will clearly let the market decide who will sink or swim in this space. So with that, I yield back.
Are you raising a question of me now?
I'm just urging you to consider, as we introduce a market structure bill for digital assets, that you will work with.
Well, will the gentleman yield?
I will yield.
Well, thank you very much, and I certainly am appreciative for what you're offering. But I can't wait, and I do want to work with all of us to deal with these kinds of issues. But I cannot wait because already the $ Trump currency is up about $30 billion, and suckers are beginning to get involved in this kind of trading. And so I'm going to ask my very, very competent, capable member whom I love from California to withdraw this amendment at this time until this committee is willing to deal with the President of the United States, who, no matter what we talk about, he's appointing the chair of the SEC. This is considered a security, and they will be able to do whatever they want under the direction of the president at the Securities Exchange.
Reclaiming my time, a statement that I enjoyed very much when you were chair of that term, reclaiming my time. Let me say that market structure legislation will provide the safety and soundness in this arena. I hope we can work on that in the 119th Congress. Does the gentleman from California withdraw his amendment?
I do indeed, although I'd yield to the ranking member to compliment me even more if she wants to, but I withdraw my amendment.
I'm just asking the gentleman from California, does he withdraw his amendment?
I do withdraw the amendment.
Let's all vote no.